Hello everyone and welcome back to another F124 driver career mode video with Enzo Fittipaldi. We are here for round 13 and the Hungarian Grand Prix. Last week, if you did miss the video that went live, it was at Silverstone. We finished 4th on track. Pierre Gasly did manage to get his first podium, but unfortunately we did fall back to 7th place after a 3-second penalty. Yeah, those 3-second penalties really have been killing me this year. Going to look to shore that up as let's jump into our specialist goals here. As let's do a little update on the driver standing too while we do go ahead and set these goals. Verstappen is really starting to open up the gap on Carlos Sainz and the rest of the field. While we're right in the mix for P6 in the drivers, we're actually P10 right now, I believe, maybe P11. But we're only 10 points behind Lewis Hamilton, who is in 6th place. So definitely in contention. I think we can reach 193 miles per hour. Definitely in contention for 6th place in the drivers, which is absolutely huge for our rookie season. And yeah, on a midfield team to get 6th in the drivers would be huge. Obviously, if everything went perfectly, the top 3 teams should be 1 through 6, but you know that doesn't always happen. Now let's hop into the R&D here. Not really too many points we have available. So it looks like the only thing we'd be able to upgrade is either the combustion chamber or the intercooler. We're going to go ahead and apply this intercooler upgrade. It will put us right even with, if not just above, Aston Martin. But it won't be on until right after Spa. So we're going to go ahead and throw that on. And yeah, then we're going to sim to the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Hello and welcome back, and as you can see, the paddock is a hive of activity behind us. More action though going on behind closed doors because, Anthony Davidson, we are in the middle of silly season. There is speculation everywhere as to where the drivers will move around the grid. Tell me from a driver's perspective, just how distracting is this?
It is a distraction, and it has been up until this point in the season, especially when you're outside of the car. But once that helmet goes on and the visor's down, it's back to business as usual, and that's when you see it all melt away. You're in the car doing what you do best. But yeah, certainly out of it, you sometimes see it boil over. Drivers have a few strong words to say to each other after some moments on track because it is such a stressful environment.
A huge mind game for all of the drivers. We're having secretive meetings, clandestine chats. What is exactly being said, though? Give us a level of insight.
So if you're not performing, obviously, you know, we're in a very brutal world in Formula One where the driver's data is there on show for inside your team for all to see, and you're constantly being compared against your teammate. There's nowhere to hide. And if you're not performing, then your team boss might be looking elsewhere and might not be telling you the full story. So sometimes you seek news from elsewhere in the paddock, even from the media. They might be telling you what's really going on with inside your team, and that's very uncomfortable. And then on the flip side, if you're having a great season, you might be the one having secretive talks with other teams that are performing better than your own team.
Okay, well, we're nearly out of time, so I'm going to send you to the commentary box, and we're going to get ready for today's Grand Prix. Welcome to Hungary. Who's got the appetite for success in practice here in Budapest?
Here we are for our race strategy practice program. I already went out and did the tire management practice program, managed to get a purple score in that. It did take me 2 laps, but we were able to go ahead and get ourselves a purple score, as we're not going to use any DRS or overtake like usual, just to get an accurate representation of our pace for the race weekend. Hungary is a track that I really don't have too much experience with. Done a few iRaces here, but nothing really on the F1 game, so gonna be interested to see how my pace holds up. I'm really interested to see if we're going to bring enough upgrades to be able to challenge Mercedes and those top teams as the year develops. As we're only halfway through the season and we've already caught up to them in the development. Obviously, we're going to have to keep bringing upgrades. And eventually, we're going to have to start looking at next year's car and focusing on that as well. So that's going to be That's gonna put a kink in things, but hopefully we'll be able to bring some more upgrades and challenge those top teams. Here we are, rounding these last few corners here, looking to secure our second purple score on the weekend. Half a second up on the Delta. Just gotta be nice, clean, and tidy through that final
Program
corner.
complete and a job well done. We got some excellent data with that run, so come on back to the garage and I can take you through the numbers.
And that's our second purple score of the weekend. Here we are for our qualifying pace practice program, and we're really going to get to see where we stack up compared to the competition here. Oh, we get a snap there. Massive snap by us. Got on the throttle just a little too soon, and that's going to cost us dearly. We're 2.5 tenths down now. We're going to have to dig deep through the rest of the lap if we want to make sure that we can get our third purple score of the weekend here. Just barely breaking even. I don't think it's going to be possible. We're trying to dig deep here. Brake late. Get on the throttle early. You still had so much spare
Program
battery
complete.
Here we are for our second attempt at our qualifying practice program. Gotta drain more battery here. Didn't quite realize there's not too many spots here to use the battery in this lap. So it's okay to really use it early. I braked a little too much there. It was way too conservative. Yeah, I lost everything there. Oh, and we invalidate. I just got my left tire in the grass and lost all grip. So it looks like we're just going to have to stay with our green score here in the qualifying practice program. Let's head on into qualifying.
No pit stops, no strategy. It's all about the pace today. Qualifying day here at the Hungaroring for the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Here we are for our first lap of qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix here. On a new set of softs here. Gonna look to try to see what kind of pace we have in this Alpine. Obviously the first run is generally just a banker. Try to find our footing for the weekend. But the car's getting good enough now where we may be able to see ourselves through to Q2 in just one run. But obviously we're gonna have to nail the lap. And we invalidate, so no matter how quick it is, we won't be seeing ourselves through with this lap. Well, our first lap was a banker on the new softs. It wasn't quite the best lap ever, and we did invalidate it, so it's not gonna count anyway. So we're gonna have to go out and set a second lap here, and hopefully a better one, because it was only a 16.2, which I don't know if that alone will be enough to see ourselves through to the next part of qualifying. We're already up on the Delta here, but not by much. Gonna look to be committed through that corner there. Just stay committed through everywhere. This track is just all about high speed commitment. Made a ton of the curb there, a little more than I would have liked, but it somehow worked out for us. Still about a 10th up on the Delta here. This corner's flat, gotta be committed. 2 tenths up. Brake as late as we can. Get on the throttle as early as we can. Four tenths up here. I think this is going to be enough as long as we have a clean and tidy last corner. Open the DRS. Use the battery. And that's P11. We're through to Q2. Here we are for our final run here of Q2. Trying to see ourselves through to Q3. We did try to set 2 bankers on 2 different sets of used softs. I invalidated the first one, and then the second one I wasn't quite able to put down a good lap as I spun halfway through. So we will have a Delta till about halfway through the lap, but then after that we won't have a Delta. And we invalidate the same spot we did on our first lap. So unfortunate, man. this track. You just have to be pushing as hard as you can in those corners. You push a little too much, and there goes your lap time. As I do want to see what kind of lap time we would have set had we been able to finish out our qualifying. I am interested in that, as that's the corner I spun in before, so you'll see us gain a ton of time there. Very conservative in that corner. Not quite sure what this lap time will be, but I think it would have been enough to at least not be P15. But unfortunately, that's looking like it's where we're going to start, obviously, after the invalidation. Would have been a 15.6. That's actually pretty quick. So unfortunate. A 15.6 would have been enough to just knock out Lewis Hamilton and see ourselves through to Q3, but instead we're starting P15 on the grid. Disastrous qualifying for both the Alpines after scoring 2 podiums in a row. So hopefully during the race we can make up after this terrible qualifying.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of Formula One action. We're not expecting too many retirements at this circuit. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher, who made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. We're northeast of Budapest for today's race at the 2.7-mile Hungaroring circuit. 14 corners here, 8 to the right and 6 to the left, on a track where downforce is king and passing is notoriously difficult. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Norris, Perez, Oscar Piastri, Hamilton, Russell, Stroll, Leclerc, Sainz, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Albon, Magnussen, Fittipaldi, Hülkenberg, Gasly, Joe, Sargent, and Valtteri Bottas begins the race from the back of the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And alongside me for this afternoon's commentary, Naomi Schiff. Good afternoon, Gnomes. So we're getting close to the start of the race. What will this driver be experiencing? Big nerves? Big excitement? What?
It certainly is a time leading up to the race where drivers feel quite nervous because that adrenaline is starting to build and it gets into your mind. So you've got to stay focused, try not to distract yourself too much. But I will say that it's once the formation lap starts, at least it was for me, that was a time where the nerves started to calm down and I got really honed in and focused on the start that was coming.
Well, here we are on the grid for the Hungarian Grand Prix here in Budapest. Yeah, like I said before, not a track I have a ton of experience with, so I'm honestly really excited to see how this race unfolds. 2-stop is 12 seconds slower than the 1-stop, so we're definitely not going to be entertaining that at all, as the question is mediums or hards to start. I think I'm going to mix it up, and we're going to go with the alternate strategy, start on the hards, and go ahead and then try to take the mediums 11 laps towards the end. Yeah, I think we'll do 14 on the hards. Yep. All right, now let's hop on into the formation lap and then the race.
The formation lap gets underway and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Max Verstappen's going to lead the field away here from pole position as everyone in the field starting on that medium compound tire besides us. We're the only ones starting on the hards. Max's championship rival all the way in 10th.
So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. But the question I'm asking is which teams have got it right and which ones have got it horribly wrong?
Carlos Sainz all the way back in 10th position in that Ferrari, obviously Max's closest competitor here. And starting that far back at Hungary, which is one of the hardest tracks to overtake, will not be ideal, as neither is us starting from P15 here. That's why we did elect to go with the alternate strategy, throw on the hards, and try to go a little long here. on the stint. Not sure how it's going to work out, but we are going to see how it all plays out as here we are under those 5 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the Hungarian Grand Prix. So we get a little bit of wheel spin there. Don't get the greatest start. Obviously, we are on that hard compound tire. Not quite as much grip as everyone else who's starting on the mediums. As I can't tell if that was Hulkenberg or Magnussen, but they did a lot of moving under braking there. Definitely scared me as we're already up to P13. Up 2 positions so far to start the race. Let's ride on board Max Verstappen here as it's lights out and away we go. But Max triggers the anti-stall, gets a terrible start, and his teammate of Perez and Fernando Alonso get the jump on him. Go side by side into turn 1, and the Spaniard of Fernando Alonso is going to lead the Hungarian Grand Prix after turn 1. As they were battling real hard up ahead. That's going to allow us to try to go to the outside here. The Japanese driver of Yuki Tsunoda. Oh, and then me and the Williams make contact here as we're just sticking our nose under the Williams of Alex Albon, but not quite able to make the move. And I decided it was probably smarter at this point if we just backed out. Oh, and then we get our first warning of the race. Don't feel like I went that wide there either. It's quite unfortunate. Everyone ahead is going to be absolutely rapid, obviously starting on the mediums, plus a lot of them being those top teams. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to hang with them here, but we're going to give it our all. I haven't quite been able to stay in the DRS of the guys ahead, only here on lap 2, and they've pulled out quite a big gap to me. As, yeah, the hard tire is pretty insufferable here at the start.
Okay, focus. We need to stay on form.
As Yuki Tsunoda is going to use the DRS to just drive right by us here. Obviously, with the double detection, I'll have the DRS again to really finalize the move. And now we got to try to hang on to the coattails of the Japanese driver here and not let him get away. Yuki's been almost able to drop me out of DRS here as well, as we're just on the edge. Haven't actually grabbed his DRS at all, but this lap we might be able to. So we're just at that 9/10 range. He just got over a second now. It's gonna be close. I think I was just able to grab it as I was. So that should allow us now, as we use some of our battery, to close back in a little bit more. We also reached one of our specialist goals right there, which is obviously always good. At some point soon here, the hard tires should start to be better than the mediums. Obviously, in our practice program, the medium tires after 5 laps were pretty worn out at like 21%. So, after 5 laps into the Grand Prix, their tires should be pretty worn as well. So this may be our chance to finally start moving up a little bit. Getting easier and easier to stay with Tsunoda here, as we're also running down that Williams of Alexander Albon. So 11th position may be in play here, which you never know. If we see a retirement from one of those top 10 cars, we could be fighting for that final points paying position. Obviously, there could be no retirements, and we'd just be fighting for 11th, which is technically meaningless at the end of the day, but you never know. Hulkenberg and Magnussen have just been swapping positions behind us, really fighting for that 15th spot. And it's been great for us. It's really allowed us to just open up a massive gap to them. As what a difference a weekend makes, as last week we were fighting Red Bulls and Ferraris, and this week we're sandwiched between 2 V-carbs fighting for no points. Yeah, really unfortunate. The pace isn't really where we wanted it for this weekend. But obviously with F1 24 this year, some tracks just aren't as good for certain cars as other tracks, and I guess, yeah, our track does not particularly get along with Hungary, which doesn't exactly instill confidence for
Okay, clear.
for Zandervoort, I should say, as they're very similar, as Yuki Tsunoda breaks down right in front of us there. And obviously not what the Japanese driver wanted to see here. Halfway through the race, just about, and his V-carb is breaking down. As Carlos Sainz has really struggled to make his way through the pack. Still in 10th position in that Ferrari. Obviously Hungary, a tough track to pass on. But you would expect him to make some moves in that Ferrari as he obviously is in the contention for the championship. Given everything to try to run down Alex Albon here. Not quite able to catch up to that Williams though. We're gaining a couple tenths. But nothing really to write home about as he's coming into the pits now, so he is going to get a massive undercut on us. We're just going to need to do the best laps we can here. As Ricardo is going to go one more lap.
We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums.
As I don't want to get undercut too bad,
Pit
so I'm
box
going
is
to box
currently
this
full.
lap.
Stay out on track. Stay out.
Oh god, never done the Hungary pit entrance.
Yes, mate, we hit the target. Nice work.
As I think we made some contact there with Daniel Ricciardo, but luckily we're able to make it into pits with no damage, minimal incidents there. They hold Daniel to let the Sauber in. Oh man, that's
Look after these tyres
gotta
now. We want
suck,
to finish the
Daniel.
race on this compound.
As now obviously everyone around us is going to be on that hard compound. Well, we're going to be on the mediums, but we are going to have to take them a pretty long way here. Really is crazy how amazing the mediums feel compared to the hards. As obviously though, I got to capitalize now and really try to eat into that deficit to Albon, because now it's the opposite. They're going to have a lot better tires than me towards the end of the race and towards the end of this stint, so I need to capitalize now. Oh, second warning of the race there, as I really feel like we barely went wide there. Crazy that that was a warning. As Pierre Gasly has made his way by Daniel Ricciardo and is now up to P13. So really good recovery drive by the French driver, making some overtakes throughout this race.
Okay, some information on Ricciardo. Okay, they're slowing down. It seems like there's some kind of problem with their car.
Wow, so both the V-carbs having issues this week. As Tsunoda breaking down fully and having a DNF, and now Ricciardo having some sort of mechanical fault. Yeah, those Red Bull powered cars not having the week they would have wanted. And obviously, except for Max Verstappen, who started this race from pole position.
Okay, Enzo.
Well, Pierre Gasly is really starting to eat into our deficit here, as he's cut it down to almost just 2 seconds. I guess these medium tires really starting to lose some of their grip. Or at least their pace. I feel like they still have grip, but not quite able to hold off.
Nice work, you smashed it. Really good job on hitting that target, mate. I'm afraid you've been given a time penalty for that last incident, mate.
I can't believe it. I think that's 3 weeks in a row with a time penalty. As I absolutely cannot believe it, man. As now there's no reason to fight our teammate of Pierre Gasly. I'm just going to let him by and hope he can pull us away from Kevin Magnussen. As that's our only chance to hopefully salvage something of this race weekend. I'm barely holding on to Gasly's coattails here. Not even really able to stay in his DRS. I haven't gotten it once, but I've been able to stay about a second away, as we're not able to get close enough when we need his DRS detection point to actually grab it. But we are still 3 seconds ahead of
Okay,
Hulkenberg
gap
and
to the car
Magnussen,
ahead, 1.5 seconds.
which obviously is our main goal anyway, so hopefully we can just have enough outright pace to maybe beat those Haas drivers. Magnussen and Hulkenberg are fighting behind us, which is exactly what we need. We need them to keep going at it, as that is best case scenario for us. There's more yellow flags here late in the day, as Alex Albon has spun.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
Here we'll have a look at Alex Albon doing a little bit of formula drifting as he carries a little bit too much speed through the corner, and instead of just locking it down, he carries the momentum into the wall and breaks off his front wing late in the day. As unfortunately, Magnussen was definitely the slower Haas car, and now that Hulkenberg has made his way by, it seems like he is eating into that deficit massively. So we're going to need to put in some really good laps if we want any chance to hold on to this position. Oh yeah, as the two Haas cars are just pulling up to the back of us now. We have no chance we're going to hold them off. 2 laps to go here. And we need to put down the 2 fastest laps we possibly can. Really unfortunate that we got another 3-second penalty. I mean, they were just coming back to absolutely haunt us here. Final lap here. Gotta try to hold off the
Okay, mate,
Haas's
final lap. Keep your concentration and let's bring it home.
and put down the fastest lap we possibly can here. Just to try to stay ahead of as many people behind them as we can. As I see cars now, there's a whole train. It's looking like we're gonna finish towards the back of the field, unfortunately, as this 3-second penalty is most likely gonna drop us back 4 or 5 spots with how close that train is getting. And now it's a 6-second penalty. Oh, as well, our day goes from bad to worse. And I mean, now we're definitely going to finish dead last as Max Verstappen wins another race here in Hungary. And yeah, is really putting a stamp on his 4th Drivers' Championship in a row. Yeah, with the bad finish from Carlos Sainz today, not quite sure where he ended up just yet. But I don't even think he got a top 5. Max is definitely going to be expanding that lead even more as we round this final corner. It's going to be a stinker of a day for us. No points for Alpine as Gasly gets 11th and we come home P16.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
And in the end, there was no Verstappen, Max Verstappen. He takes victory.
Wow, that's 3 wins in a row. They really are on a roll now and really building great momentum. They are clearly one to look out for.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
Well, it's a Red Bull 1-2, and George Russell grabs that final spot on the podium as Sergio Perez has his best race of the year. Yeah, if they see more of this from the Mexican driver, they won't really have a reason to replace him out of that Red Bull, as obviously he is on the hot seat, but looking to secure another season in that Red Bull.
After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
Well, there you have it. Yeah, honestly, a very, very disappointing race weekend for us as we finish P12 on track but drop all the way back to P16 after 2 3-second penalties. Yeah, sloppy drive from us. I really didn't have too much experience at Hungary coming in, but our pace wasn't terrible. I mean, I just think our car wasn't in the best spot, obviously. Pierre had a really bad qualifying. He was able to recover in the race and go from 17th to 11th, but still no points for Alpine. As Max Verstappen now makes his championship lead 80 points. And yeah, I mean, unless something changes really soon and Red Bull starts to struggle, I don't see Carlos Sainz eating into his deficit, as we may be looking at a 4th championship for Max Verstappen in a row here. As for the constructors standings, though, that is still wide open between Red Bull and Ferrari. Obviously, if we see more really good weekends for Sergio Perez like this, it'll be a lot harder for Ferrari to capture that. But if Perez kind of dips in form like he has been, I mean, anything is open for the Scuderia. So yeah, thank you to everyone who watched the video. Please like and subscribe, and you guys have a great day.